in the world of AI-assisted development and AI-centric development, obviously the level of speed up that we see from code creation is intense. And one of the areas that really then start becoming a pinch, becoming a bottleneck is how do we actually review that code? How do we actually validate that the code that is being generated at speed is of the right quality? We have Sneha Tuli here, who is the Principal Product Manager at Microsoft. And Sneha is going to be talking about how AI-assisted code reviews on PRs can work at scale. And this is based on Sneha's experience at Microsoft and how some of their learnings across this rollout occurred. So please give a very warm welcome to Sneha.
Hello everyone, it is a privilege to be here amongst all of you who are not only helping shape how we code, but also the future of how we will work and live in years ahead. I will be talking about AI-assisted code reviews on pull request, how we scaled it from a proof of concept to full-fledged rollout in one of the world's largest engineering organizations. I would like to ground ourselves into some magnitude we are talking here. A company with more than 100K engineers, product managers, and designers, more than 800K PRs created and reviewed on a monthly basis, and 150K repositories. You can only imagine the extent we are talking here, the vast code base, the diversity in each team's conventions, best practices, frameworks, and even security requirements. Making sure quality and security at this scale is a massive undertaking. In most of the large organizations, there's immense pressure to boost developer productivity. And that we want to empower our developers so that they can ship high quality code at a very rapid pace. That does not only mean coding fast, but also means reviewing at a fast pace, such that it safeguards quality and security. But what is the reality? How many times your PRs are just stuck over and you're waiting, if not days, at least hours, for someone to give first pass on the review? As a reviewer, is it really exciting to deep dive into someone else's code and spend time in reviewing each and every line? There are inconsistent review practices as you switch teams. And also, oftentimes, because of tight constraints, some obvious or non-obvious critical issues can slip into production. We had a hypothesis. Why don't we use AI for routine checks? And reviewers only focus on 10 to 20% of the checks that really deserve their expertise. We put this hypothesis to test. And what happened? Today, we review more than 90% of the pull requests in the company, impacting more than 95% of the developers. Based on different experiments, we have seen 10 to 20% improvement in PR completion time. And also our usefulness rating is between 50 to 60%. The scale at which we are talking about, it's hundreds and thousands of suggestions that get accepted and even thousands of hours that get saved. I'll just quickly mention what we developed, and then I will talk about the learnings and lessons along the way. And I hope you will be able to take some practical learnings that you can incorporate in your AI journey. What did we build? First of all, anytime a pull request gets created, we left a summary on that pull request, which would describe at very high level what this pull request is about and key changes in this pull request. This was important for reviewers to glance through what are they getting into before even they review the PR. Then AI would automatically, immediately again as a PR gets created, review the content of the PR, and if there are any suggestions, it would post comments aligned with the change lines so that reviewers can fix them. It would also give a suggestion of exactly how this can be resolved. And lastly, there is an interactive Q&A, where reviewers or developers can ask questions like, is this method fine or is there any other better alternative? And again, it's a collaborative space. Everything is on the PR thread, the way human reviewers and developers interact with each other. When we started really small with caution. This was in 2023. When AI had just started, We did not know what to expect. We did not know what the impact is going to be. So we started with some repositories. The very first thing we did was we developed a feedback collection mechanism, even before rolling it out. Not only thumbs up, thumbs down, verbatim feedback, and we came up with creative ways to understand suggestion acceptance rate. For verbatim feedback, we sent all of it to LLM to take a pass at what's working and what needs improvement. Then prompt engineering, the very basic capability that everyone has to work on even before they are starting a project, we worked on it iteratively. We wanted a prompt that is not very complex for LLM to understand, like get confused, or it's not too short for it to start assuming things. But what worked the most is prompt version control. We started versioning our prompts and then tracked the usefulness. Why did we do that? We realized with minor changes in prompt, it can have significant impact on the usefulness. For example, initially, our comments were pretty verbose, the suggestions. We had to literally scroll through the comment to get to what the AI is suggesting. Well, that's an exaggeration, but you get the point. We updated the prompt to say, please be clear and precise while explaining. And with that, we saw the usefulness improve by 5%. Whereas on the other scenario, we updated the prompt to say, anytime you see high severity issue, flag it as critical. We thought developers will like it, but our usefulness rating went down. Why? Now AI was just commenting on high severity issues and not the holistic picture. And that was a miss at our end. We reverted back. Hence, having a prompt version control system that monitors prompt version, the prompt changes with the usefulness is very important. By now, we were getting positive signals, and we knew we could roll it out a bit broadly. So we enabled it to 5% of the company's PRs. The feedback we were getting. Initially, we were posting just one blob of comment with all the suggestions in it. Why? We did not want to spam the reviewers or developers with too many comments. But then what happened? Our developers did not want that. They wanted a human-like experience, the way they would, if they are commenting on someone's PR, they would pick a line or a diff and comment on that. They won't leave a blob of comment, and that's exactly what they wanted. We did A/B testing, and we saw a difference of 20% in usefulness rating. It was significant. We adapted. Hence, we integrated into the existing workflow and experience. That's what developers want. They don't want a new experience crafted altogether. The quality of suggestion is important, but so is integration, ease of integrating that experience. In our case, developers did not want to say that comment, go back to IDE, make changes, and come back. They wanted it to be easy and quick to apply that suggestion. We came up with this apply change feature. We integrated this, and developers could right there create a new iteration on the PR. This one is my favorite. Whenever we were getting feedback, developers were saying, AI is asking me to make this change, which is incorrect. I want to highlight the word asking. Never did they say it's suggesting. We went back to the comments, and we realized that AI is sometimes being too assertive. It is using words like, this will fail because of XX reason. So we changed our prompt for AI to be encouraging and supportive. Our suggestions started showing up as, this could be problematic. It would be better to do this. And again, our suggestion acceptance increased with this because developers were now seeing it as a buddy versus a fault finder. We had to earn trust. Initially, we were kind of spamming the developers with many comments. So we created a small language model based on the past reviews. So anytime a PR was created, the diffs were passed through this SLM, which was hosted by us. Not only did it save cost, but only important risky diffs were now getting sent to LLM. This reduced the noise significantly. We started earning trust. And then we knew we could lower the thresholds once we have earned the trust and go to an optimal threshold of what riskiness or what level of issues each team wants. By now, we had a system which we knew has earned the trust of the developers and was working well integrated into the PR loop. but we had different set of challenges. The other half of the puzzle was still remaining. What will happen if we scale it across the company with so many different code bases? There's so much variation by each team. For one team, using a method would be difficult. They don't want it because of performance issues. For another team, they might have some steps of security they want to be followed. So we gave teams the option. They could specify repository-specific instructions or even create custom prompts for their repository, which AI would take into account while reviewing. With this, we could increase our scope, our user base, because now if teams want a different experience, they had the option to do that. Missing context, this is a common one. The context of each code base is different. If we just send the pull request details and a method is used or referenced, which AI has no idea what is the definition behind this method, then the reviews will be irrelevant. So we work through semantic search, graph rag, and I will be candid, continuously even now working on it. It's not a resolved scenario on what's the right optimal context that LLM needs for the best review. Multi-agent orchestration, if you have not heard it enough throughout all the sessions, I'll repeat it. So we had a review agent. We also came up with a critic agent. Why? Because there were misses LLM was making. Instead of having all those instructions and processes in the review agent, we came up with a critic agent. Review agent would first come up with a suggestion. This critic agent will look for things like, are the suggestions really associated with changed lines of code? Because sometimes it can provide recommendations on changes the developer has not made as a part of that pull request, and developers do not want that. So review critic agent combination really worked for us. Also, we saw differences based on language types, C#, C++, even .md files. So we came up with language-specific agents so that we could give best practices or true information that mattered for AI to review. And lastly, A/B testing framework, very important. It's not just a product development good to have anymore. It's a core capability. Anytime a new model comes in, you might want to just jump into update that new model into your product. But is that model, LLM model, really making a difference? Significant difference for you to go and try it out or change the entire user experience to that model? That needs to be validated before you even roll that out. Maybe it's a marginal difference, maybe it's same. By now, again, we not only had a product which was scalable across the company, it had earned trust, was a decent quality. With any product, security is very important. You need to have guardrails for safety and compliance. From the very beginning, we made sure we had processes in place to detect and ignore any malicious instructions so that there is no prompt injection. Any unsafe or sensitive output, such as credentials, do not show up. We had systems in place to apply emergency brake anytime there was any anomaly. Like we could roll back immediately, we could turn it off and just go back to human reviews if need be. Human in the loop, very crucial. AI can suggest, but if that suggestion is worth accepting, that decision is on a human. And with this, just like any human review, they would leave a comment, and it's on the developer if they want to accept it, dismiss it, or debate over it. Similarly, with our AI comment, they could do the same. And transparency. Any AI suggestion should be pointed out as coming from AI, and the human who reviews it should be held accountable, and they have to use their judgment before accepting it. This is a core, I would say, principle we have been following. Hence, following user feedback, giving teams the option to customize their experience, transparency, and integrating into the existing workflow. All of this worked really well for us. What's ahead? Not just for us, but for the industry overall. Exciting direction. Planner. There will be multiple agents. One planner, which will diagnose and devise the next steps. It will take it to next level. If an API is getting updated, it needs to have proper authorization and authentication in place. If there is a complex business logic, it needs to have right unit tests, integration tests. If a dependency is updated, there should be downstream compatibility. Hence, review should be taking a big, deeper experience into account. More context does not always mean better decisions. AI can get confused. So our agents will become smart enough to decide what is the right context for a particular scenario. In some case, it might want to look into previous commits, and in some cases, it might want to pull in some documentation. For both of this, good planning and better context, we need to give AI the right tools in a secure manner. If it has to pull the previous historical PRs, it should have the tool for that. If it has to pull unit test file, it should have a tool for that. Memory retention. It will go to next level where it will start learning. If a team repeatedly dismisses a particular type of suggestion, it should be added into its best practice or its knowledge base that this kind of suggestion I should not be giving to this team, there's something off. If there is a production defect, it should feed back into the review process so that that does not happen again. And lastly, transparency. It needs to explain the reasoning so that developers really find it trustworthy to accept the suggestion. For example, if it is asking to add a validation and it references past PRs in which the validation was added to avoid any injection attacks, that earns the trust of developer and they are more prone to accept the suggestion. Soon AI will start scheduling coffee breaks for us, one you might be needing right now. In closing, AI is here to help augment our experiences. We really need to give the right context to AI to get better output. Human in the loop is crucial. AI can suggest this is a better method to be used, but is it truly better? Is the decision we have to make. It can schedule a coffee break for me, but today, am I in the mood of drinking espresso or coffee latte? That decision is on me. It is a revolutionary time. We have to accept, we have to adapt. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome. Any questions at all? One at the back. One second. One sec. I'm just going to. I'll come back to you with Mike.
Hello.
Yeah.
The question that I had was, does this already exist in latest releases of Copilot?
Sorry?
Does this already exist, this agent?
It is our learnings internally, whatever we learned. It has also helped influence GitHub Copilot code review. Mm-hmm. So yes, GitHub has a code review service, which is slightly different. Like this is internal because it has more context of our code bases, etc. But it does exist in GitHub Copilot code review experience.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have this deeply thought out, but you have 5% of your, I guess the phrasing company PRs is what I was asking about. Do you have some kind of control, is there some kind of like control point that you have that reviews everything? Is this all internally facing code bases maybe? That
is right. It is all internal facing code bases, and anytime a pull request gets created, that's the control point.
Got it. Thank you.
I have 3 questions. The first question will be, how would you measure the PR code review quality? So based on my experience, if you're using different LLMs to review the same piece of code, it might give you different review results. And yeah, this will be the first question. The second question is that, how do you do the code reviews for monorepo versus the different across the company, different repos? Because when you're working on a single repo, it's missing the context of the overall picture, especially working on some microservices, distributed services, they have some dependencies. So how would you solve that? Yeah.
I'll start off with the second one. This was a very good question. So for monorepos, we came up with an approach where at each branch level, they could specify best practices. And they generally monorepos, each teams do have best practices that they follow internally. So for each branch, we gave the capability, not just repository level, even within repository level, each branch or each folder, they could specify what instructions, what are the best practices for them. And especially two of our monorepos have been extensively using that capability. Now coming forward to the usefulness. We have different indicators we have been tracking. Usefulness, like the votes given by developers, is something we continuously track. And that has been an impactful metric for us. We have devised our own creative ways to come up with like what % is getting accepted. And we saw if we change the model, like for example, when there was O3 Mini and O3 versus GPT-4. So we tested based on different languages, different models, and tracked these different metrics that we are following. And whichever was working best, that's where we got signals from that, okay, this is the model that is working best at this point in time. In future, though, it is definitely getting better. So the inconsistency you are saying, hopefully we will not see in future models.
We have a question online. The question is, a thought, sorry, is that based on that previous talk from Neil, perhaps there's an idea to combine code review agent with a fitness function. Imagine the agent detecting dependency on an incorrect API and suggesting a better one from the enterprise catalog. Any final questions from the room? No, then I'm going to sell. Any final questions? I feel like an auctioneer. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Give it up for Sneha.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.